Make room for Javi.
Welcome to my Project a Day video, where I explain a project or tell a story each day for a year, and I attempt to complete my shop. Today is day 8 of 365, and today's project is rack number 1. We're going to build ourselves a rack to hold these totes, these 27-gallon totes. And as I promised yesterday, here's a story of my not so quite honest shenanigans that my buddies and I may or may not have perpetrated. 1978, I got my first computer. It was an Apple II Revision Zero board before the Apple II Plus and the Apple IIe came out. It wasn't an Apple I, but it was as close as you can get to it. I had gotten into computers relatively early. 7th grade, 8th grade, all through high school, I was already a geek before it was fashionable. Sophomore year, they opened up a brand new computer class. The school bought some new Ohio Scientific computers. Ohio Scientific computers operated on these 8-inch floppies, and it was just a dream. I had already known floating point basic, Apple basic. I had learned assembler and machine language as well. So I was well ahead of the curve when it came to this computer class. I got to go in my sophomore year in a junior senior level class. So since it was the first class being offered, there was nothing but juniors there and 2 others. There was a buddy of mine, Howard, who was also in a similar situation, and a buddy of mine, Alfred. We were the only 3 sophomores, and we were like peas in a pod because all 3 of us were big geeks. The rest of the class, they were learning, and a lot of them had quite a bit of difficulty learning simple basic. The most basic, if you'll excuse the pun. Howard, Alfred, and I would just knock off these programs in no time. The juniors would come to us every now and then, hey, could you help me with this? And of course I'd help. Well, one thing led to another, and Howard and I ended up charging $5 a program to help them. And what I mean by help them is write the entire program for them. Programming was beautiful, and we would really get a kick out of making each program unique and different. They all got A's. Now fast forward to the end of the quarter and we have a final exam, which is nothing more than a program. Now we go to the computer lab, we write it on our own. Now here's the way it worked. We would each have as many spare disks as we purchased. We'd buy our own disks, but our official class disk with the official class assignments were kept in a file cabinet in folders next to Mr. Quesada's desk. He would rely on us, Howard, myself, and Alfred, very often. I mean, he was a teacher and he was a computer teacher, but that wasn't his primary skill. We had accumulated quite a number of paying customers to the effect that we only had 1 week and we were very short on time. We got innovative. A little short trip to Radio Shack, and you have these little donut magnets. Drop a few in some random folders. We all have backups of every single one of those programs. So Mr. Quesada comes to us. We're there after class with him because we would hang out in the computer lab as well. He would say, hey, half these kids, the disks are unreadable. I go, Mr. Quesada, I'm sorry, but we've been telling everybody not to place their disks on top of the CRT because the CRT is magnetized and it could mess up your disks. There was a modicum of truth to it. The next day, he's just yelling at all the class. He goes, I told you guys not to do this. I told you guys many times not to put the discs on the monitors. Now look what happened and this and that. And they probably spread from one disc to another, and he's coming up with all these theories. The bottom line was he gave us an extra week to work on it, and we easily recopied all the programs that we had finished, and we finished the new ones, and it was that way for a couple years. Those were some very fun times. So like I said earlier, believe it or not, this could be a complete work of fiction, or it could be just a story that was told to me by a buddy or two, and I had nothing to do with it. Have a wonderful day, folks. Thank you for watching. Feel free to comment. I enjoy reading them, particularly when they're pleasant. Please subscribe, and as always, have a great day.
Make room for Javi.